Content over everything.
Put it in the description.
Love for that.
I wanted to say one more thing. I know I talk a lot, yeah, but one of the things that, well, know thyself. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, what I was talking about is poetry.
Yes.
I think our language and our poetry as well is something that when my son was young, he's older now, but when he was young, I always wanted to find if there was any kind of poetry club, and I found one, and it was in Tower Hamlets, and I don't know if that stuff is still about, but I think that poetry was a way of Somali people really being able to, and
connecting with yourself.
Connecting, and our history as
Absolutely.
well. You know what I mean?
People don't understand that we collect our history through our poems.
Poets, yeah, and memorization.
Absolutely. So it's important to us, and again, this is just another skill that we have that's dormant in our system that we just need to wake up, because we've been doing it for thousands of years. Bruv, it's written into your DNA, and you can just all you need to do is go back to it. Man.
If you guys want strategies on how to build collective groups and communities and stuff, just literally, because that's what I do.
Yeah,
you know
okay
what I mean?
then.
And you're all welcome to join and actually analyse, because you'll be part of it, and then from that you can take ideas and do splinter offs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's people like Nigerian sections, West Indian, Caribbean, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So it is, but there are strategies you can do, and also I would recommend you have a code of conduct. You know, you have a
Mission
way.
statement.
Yeah. Mission statement, code of conduct. So when people come in,
Yeah,
you
we have a mission
minimize-
statement. We have a mission
Yeah.
statement. It's deen and dakan, innit? It's faith and culture, because for us, those two things are very much, they overlap, because the word Somali is about 800 years old, 700 years old, and we've been Muslims since the time of the Prophet. So for us, it's not about Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So it's not for us. It's not about choosing one or the other. They're very much intertwined,
right?
So
but also
we're not involved.
ask the community you're talking to their values. Try because there might be a separation between certain people for being apart. So find out how they process information. Because what happens is, when you get people coming from one different place to one spot, because they're coming from different ideas, you might get a disconnect.
Yeah.
So try to understand it before you form that, and then you can actually better facilitate everyone. That's what I do.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I wanna hear everybody's thoughts on repatriation and going back, particularly if anybody here is a follower of Marcus Garvey, because obviously that was his big thing in it, going back to Africa. So look, this is my dream. This is something I'm working on. And inshallah, if God wills, then this is something that's going to happen. But I don't know what everybody else thinks about, thoughts on the issue. I know you said you're buying land, so you're in the process like me. But is this a solution for all Somalis, or is this something that we should think about more seriously, or is it a fair amount of people that are?
Wait, hold on. I'm just moving the mic around.
Say that question again. Is that buying land?
Repatriation, so going back to settle,
Okay.
making a business instead of trying to find a job here. Why don't you create jobs there?
Yeah.
You understand? So, like Somaliland, I know I keep harping up about Somaliland. It's not Isaac land, innit? It's Somaliland. It's for all Somalis, innit? Now, Isaacs may have been the ones that may have built it, and we can take credit for what's going on there. It's an amazing, like I said, it's an African miracle, but it's Somaliland. It's for all Somalis, innit? And
they're on to you in the comments as well.
I know they think I'm a tribalist, innit? Huh?
Where's this a sub corner?
Yeah, because I don't know, man. Southerners, they don't like us. They don't rate us. That's a realist, bro. We love them, innit?
Some of them look at it as a separation, but it doesn't have to be a separation. Like Somalia is 5. It's always been 5.
It's always been 5,
It's all been 5. So at the end of the day, if each one, like what we were saying before, if each one concentrate on their bit, then when it comes to internationally and we get to our aim, then we can talk about these other things. But right now, I think there's a lot of distraction with all of this, Somali, Somaliland, Puntland, Ogaden, and all of this.
Let's all just remember that if we're Isaac or Dawood or Hawiya or whatever the clan may be, it's a clan. And the tribe is Somali. We're all one big family, innit? Yeah? And we are the Somali tribe. We're Somali, innit? That's what we call ourselves. And we need to go back to getting this collective identity, because we now have convinced ourselves somehow that these sub-clans are the tribe, right? Whereas the sub-clans are sub-clans of the tribe Somali, innit?
Yeah. Like, I think that people do emphasize a little bit too much on separation rather than unity, and remember divide and rule. Anytime you lot want to talk about Somalia, Somaliland, Puntland, just remember that is how we have been destroyed, by divide and rule. We need to look at the bigger picture for the moment. And if you've got issues, instead of looking at what other person has done, worry about yourself. Worry about your town, your village, your uncle. What is your uncle eating? What is your nephews and nieces educated with? What are they, being nourished with mentally, physically, and spiritually? And I think that really, truly talking about what you were talking about, one of the main things that I've seen, Somali women are the number one people that try to go back with their children. The biggest problems they face is education and health. Right? Health is getting better now because there's a lot of Turkish hospitals that have been opened up, especially in Mogadishu and in Mogoya as well. In the north, there's a lot of hospitals there, like they're getting there. But the main concern is education is another thing, right? So what happens to the children is they get confused, right? And there's children that get taken back for a few years. They find it difficult over there when they've had a foundation here. So when you've had a foundation in the English education system, then you're taken back to Somalia or Somaliland or whatever, and the education system is primarily there Islamic and Arabic, yeah, unless you're going to a private school, yeah. And even in those private schools, there is a big chunk of Islamic and Arabic education there. So what happens is that child is then uprooted. Maybe they've had first 5-6 years here, then they've had 2-3 years over there. They find that because of the health situation, a lot of illnesses, a lot of things, they can't cope financially because obviously they have not set up, a business there or whatever. They've moved back, spontaneously and things like that. And I think that the biggest thing that people need to think about is the next generation. When we're messing with our next generation and taking them from England to Africa, to England to Africa, they can get confused and they can be lost in the middle because remember, they haven't sustained any one or the other properly. So it's
like
stability.
What you describe is basically
what happens to a lot of our people.
That was literally me. Like I was born here.
See, thank you.
I was born here, and at the age of 5, we moved back to Somalia,
Yeah.
and I lived there for 2 years. And by the time I came back, I had completely forgotten English, like totally forgotten
Yeah.
English because at that age you can pick up languages so easily.
Yeah.
So I was fresh to death in it.
Right.
And so it's weird, innit? Because I was born here, but I came back fresh. And I got a little cousin who's had the same experience. So he's lived in Somalia for the last 3 or 4 years now, and he's like 8, 9 now. So he's completely like Somali,
brought him back.
even though he knows what Apple iPhone is. And
they brought him back.
They're gonna bring him back, but he's not back quite yet.
Don't
But like I was,
advise him because this is what I want to
That's what I
ask
mean.
you. How did it affect you?
Like, I
and
much
what do you
preferred it
think?
there, I'll be honest.
Well, no, what do you think about this yo-yo business? Do you think that the mothers should? I know it's hard. They should stick to their decision. Once you go back, yeah, I don't think you should bring those children back when they haven't finished their education over
the
there.
thing is,
when I was
it's
there,
important to know
just
what's the reason. Like, there could be many reasons.
Right. Okay.
It could
then,
be that I don't know. They might have run out of money. for
Right.
something.
Okay. Then, if they run out of money, because they run out of money,
Yeah.
it's not going to be a situation where you're going to totally uproot and maybe potentially destroy this young child's. I'm talking as a mother as well that has done this. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So.
But sometimes they become more smarter, innit?
Yeah, but what I'm not talking
Because
about.
there's no
look,
PlayStation, no bullshit like that.
Has this
They just
happened
see a
to you?
human.
Has this happened to you?
No.
I'm talking
Like,
as a
I
mother
know
that has
some
done
like
it.
for
Excuse me.
me, when I was there, I was foreign. Yeah, when I was here, I was foreign, and that's
This
the
is what I'm,
reality.
this is what I'm telling you.
And
And
yeah,
this
it
is the
kinda
problem.
it kinda
We need to
confused you,
talk
but-
about that. We need to talk about wallahi walala because what happens is even when you see certain kids that come back confused and blah blah blah, and the mothers that want to go, when they see that, it deters them. You understand? And the reason is because in the first place, let's talk about the problems. Financial problems, yeah, is one of the reasons that might want to come back. Why can we not, in the first place, plan for it a little bit better? And even if it happens, yeah, Allah Razaqul Fatah. There are people who are over there that have gone without money but stuck at it, and then after a year somehow found a way and brought back their financial situation.
The first time I went there was when I was 16, and I went with my family.
Yeah.
So obviously I grew up here. I wasn't born here. I came here when I was quite young, maybe 4 years old or something. Anyway, I went back for the first time at 16 years old, and for me, it was just like a summer holiday. So it was like a little transition in it. So I kind of got a taster, and then I came back. So got a taster, came back. So that way, I'm sort of slowly kind of going back to my land.
Yeah, summer holiday,
right?
for summer holidays and that is all right.
And I know a lot of Asian communities, what they do is they take their kids back every year.
Yes.
From a young age.
I think that's
so
a good
their base is
solution.
here. Their base is here, so they go back every year. So they reconnect to the culture
Sah.
and they recognize where they're from and
Yeah.
everything. And even know the languages very well as well.
Yeah.
And then eventually they themselves make the decision to go back.
Yeah.
Because they have a base.
Yeah.
But what your experience was, at 5 years old, was it 2 years old?
5.
5 years old, you were
So-
taken back, come back again. So you're confused. You're actually living there,
Yeah,
right?
2 years.
So if there's a transition period, it's like with anything. So
I think the
But,
mothers
like, going
again.
back and thinking back on it, like I much preferred being there than
Yeah,
being
yeah.
here. Like, and honestly, I
because
wish
you were
I stayed.
young when you was there. I think. when
Yeah,
you're
but you have
young,
to also
wherever
understand,
you're
like
at-
here, I lived in Chalk Hill Estate. Like I don't know if you know Chalk Hill Estate.
You live in Chalk Hill?
Yeah, I don't know if you know Chalk Hill Estate in the 90s, bro. I had a crackhead on my walkway. Like the lift never worked and it stank of piss. Yeah, and there was a junkie on my walkway, bro. Yeah, you know what I mean? I went from there to listen, like every single flat in that block, in all of the blocks in Chalk Hill were cockroach and rat infested in it. Every single one. So when I will invite my friend round to play Super Nintendo, and he'll see cockroaches, and I'll go to school the next day. Nobody used to bully me about it. You know why? Because everybody had it. Do you understand me? Literally everyone had it. So I went from that to living in a villa where we had our own like little allotment, where we grew our own fruit and veg, where we had our own livestock, where we had shagala, we had maids and that. Get me? We were living good, fam. So we went from underclass to upper class, innit? So obviously I loved that, innit? And I wanted to stay there, innit? You know what I mean? But looking back on it, yeah, I got an education here, but did I appreciate it? Did I actually try hard? Did I, you know what I mean? Did I actually work to get that education? No. In Somalia, if I stayed there, I would have. Definitely, I would have worked a lot harder. I would have probably got more qualified, looking back on it. You know what I mean?
There's better appreciation for education there.
Absolutely, and you have a hunger in it as well, because it's not beaten out of you. Do you understand?
And I think
you're not taught cynicism.
In the schools over there as well, diaspora children are treated a little bit differently. Not only because of the teachers, but by the actual pupils themselves. So you're sort of glorified because you're from England and
There's a
you're
bit of
this. You're
jealousy,
treated a little bit.
yeah.
No, but you're treated. You get away with a lot more than. And it's almost you're glorified you're hyped up to act a certain way that is expected of you. This is what I've been told by my son and some of my nephews that have been taken back. Do you understand? That they were different from the actual kids that they were studying with. Do you know what I mean? So no matter how much the mothers think that when they take their kids back, that they're giving their kids what they got from Somalia, they will never, because they're not fully part of that society. And when they come back here, you've even made them lesser of this society.
They're more
because
foreign here.
you've given them that gap of the formative years where they've gone and learned something which is totally contradictory to what they need to learn here to survive. Yeah? So I think that this going back can be dangerous. I think that, like our brother said, what we need to first of all start to do as diaspora is set up institutions of health, education, mental health, business, and then we can support the next mother that wants to go back, that says, yeah, I've got 5,000, I want to start up a business, but just in case if my business goes down, what are my alternatives? My youngest kid is 5 years old. I want to stay there until he can get to higher education, which is I'm looking to stay there the next 12 years, and help people plan through this, because some of the mothers are very desperate and they leave with harsh decisions because they don't have that support system. And then they have the older generation saying, get away from that place, just come. But it's not just come, because these are young lives that we are responsible for. As a mother, I'm speaking very passionate about this, because I don't know if I made a mistake, but I did it at the best of my knowledge. But my son has said some of the things that you've said to me. They said, Mum, I'm a foreigner here and I'm a foreigner there. Do you know what I mean? And even there, you think you're taking me back to be a Somalian young. I'll never be a Somalian young man there. I will be Dakan Alice, which is from Europe, basically, someone from Europe or America, and I will be treated differently. And even the money you send me, he goes, Mum, you used to send, because I used to think, oh, you've sent him to Africa, the least you could do is send him money. That money in itself is a corruption to them over there, because one of the main principles that we're trying to teach the kids over there is anti-materialism, which is what we've been taught here, which is black people. That's what we govern ourselves on: what crepes you're wearing, what trainers you're wearing, who's got what weave on, is it real hair fit, this, there, and that. What do you know what I mean? And this is what, when we take them back to Africa, when we're supposed to strip them of everything. When the one Somalian boy from London is getting $30, which is here like £12 or £13, it's nothing. I send him $30 a month, yeah. That's a lot of money. He's got $30, which a big man hasn't got, which might be a police officer's wages is about $60. So he's getting half of a big man's wages. So these are the things that we're corrupting, but we don't know, because we in ourselves got one foot in this culture and one foot in that culture. And that's where we need to start. First of all, start making institutions really. Mental health is a big thing you talked about last week. We need to deal with it. Business abroad is another thing, yeah. I think the crime one as well. I think we need to, every of these things, I think we need to get the mothers involved, yeah, because I think we need to get the mothers involved, because some of these criminal activities as well, the mothers know about it, and they're scared that the older boy, let's say if one of the boys has gone down onto the road of the streets, yeah, before you know it, he's influencing the young next one. And we know our mothers have more than 1 or 2 boys or children, yeah. Some of us have got 8 children. When the first one goes down that road, but the thing is, the mothers he is actually psychologically bullying his own mother. If only she's got a connection of other mothers that are being bullied psychologically the same way, that we could get together and put a stop to it. Because I think the Somali mothers and the uncles, if we get together and we identify and we start pointing fingers, I know we're not a snitch culture, but within, I'm not talking about to the police, I'm talking within our society to say, hey, Hebel's son has started and his older brother's got him on it.
And that's what we had.
Then everything we need to go and grab them while they're still young. Yeah, I understand.
That's it.
But the thing is, the mothers are not being involved. Back home, the Somali mothers, when they say something, it was law. Here,
it is up until the age of 8,
because,
9, 10.
You know why? Because I think when it was back home, although the fathers, you'd rather deal with mum than deal with dad, because by the time dad comes, the whip is coming out. You get me? So most people about mum would be like, I say that, oh, I'll tell your dad, and it would be all over. So I think the structure there of peers for men. I know the mothers are important, but the mothers need support from male peers. Yeah. So when we do speak out and say, Hebel, or this young you is going down the wrong route, and a bunch of mothers complain and say, well, my one's hanging around with your one, and their solution is keep them apart, which is even worse. Do you know what I mean? Because at least you know, the English say, the better the devil you know. You understand? At least you know where he is and who he's hanging around with, and the two moms can collaborate. But we need the older generation, the men, the uncles, yeah, to be able to give out their number, to be able to say, if there's a meeting, we will be there. If there's something that needs to be done, you understand? So definitely the mothers, and the mothers need male peers to support them, to make have clout, what they're saying, have clout. You understand? The same way back home that the mothers had a clout that was given to them by their male elders.
Yeah. Now here's what it is, right? I reach out to you guys. If you need anything, let me know. There's strategies that's happened before you guys work together of what other communities are trying to do to rectify similar challenges.
Yeah.
We have answers. And whenever we get a one-on-one, I can break it down and see if it works for what you're trying to do. Yeah?
All right then.
My back's I've got to go.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm here. So next week, if you come next week, we'll chop it up and...
No worries.
Yeah,
no, bless you.
Take care.
But yeah, Somali call it, what's that, episode 4, yeah? Yeah. This is getting out of hand right now, isn't it? It's got its own yeah.
I think some of these subjects can get revisited as well if some people want to come back and, you know what I mean, elaborate on some of these subjects, because they're big subjects.
I want to clarify some things in it. Basically, Abdullahi, God bless my little brother Abdullahi, me and him were basically on 2 different ends of the political spectrum. And it's interesting because his point of view on a lot of things is the mainstream point of view. That's why I think it's quite important that he speaks in it, because he does represent the majority of Somalis, or at least people in the north anyway. But I'm not like him, innit? Like people confuse me because I'm not challenging him all the time, and sometimes I just let him speak. People think I condone like what he's saying, innit? I am not a tribalist, and I am the most anti-tribalist person you're gonna meet. Like my tribe is there Somali, my nation is
Content over every time. From your man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV.
That's who my loyalty is to. You understand? Now, the part of the Ummah I come from is the Horn of Africa, where the Somali people reside. And for me, Somali is a tribe. First and foremost, before it's a nation, it's a tribal people. And that tribe is one big family, and I see Somalis as my family. Now, I am from the north, and I am from Somaliland, and I'm very proud of Somaliland because I know what they've achieved in the last 20 years since they've declared independence. And I think that's something that all Somalis should take pride in. You know what I mean? I think, like I said, the name is